Hey guys, the Explorer 4 here, the Horror Boy, and I figured that since I kind of strayed away from the Universal Monster movie reviews, I would get back on that track and cover the last few movies that I have from that gift that my friend John had sent me from Rue227 Reviews. Big shout out to him, great guy, really appreciate these gifts, and of course he had sent me this pack. I've reviewed Dracula, The Mummy, Invisible Man, Wolfman. I even reviewed Creature from the Black Lagoon. Love Wolfman, I love Invisible Man, big fan of Dracula, it's actually my favorite Universal Monster movie. But I must say, I saved the Frankenstein movies for last because I was really curious and I figured they'd be the best ones. And I must say, this, Dracula, and Bride of Frankenstein are the three best Universal Monster movies for me. Huge fan of all three movies, they're all fantastic, and they of course talking about Frankenstein from 1931 to 7.8 on IMDb by James Whale. Now, I know James Whale, great director. He'd go on to make plenty of other films. I know he made The Invisible Man, as well as the sequel to this, Bride of Frankenstein. Great director. I know he was a big help in starting up the Universal Monster movies. So that's very, very cool. And to get to this movie, I mean, the story we all pretty much know about. This classic story of Frankenstein, You have in this movie, I believe the character is Victor Frankenstein, but in here it's Henry Frankenstein, and instead of Igor, it's Fritz. And they're digging up bodies or taking different body parts, and they're basically going to put them together and make the ultimate living, resurrected being, and to bring life to the dead. And basically, Henry Frankenstein is obsessed with getting the power of God. He has the power of God to bring life to the dead. And he's obsessed with that. And the movie kind of plays off of that. And the story is just wonderful, classic. Really, really enjoyed the story. I really, really love the cast of this movie. I mean, this cast is probably one of the best casts I've seen in a horror film. Not only do you have Boris Karloff, who I love as an actor, he's been in so many great films, and I want to see more of Boris Karloff's films. You have him playing the monster, of course, and he does phenomenal. I think he really does kind of just blow everything else out of the water, as far as what was going on at the time, and he really made a name for himself. He's just a fantastic actor. I think he has a great job in this movie. But not only do you have Boris Karloff doing a great job, but you also have Colin Clive playing Henry Frankenstein, which I know he's going to be in Bride of Frankenstein. He does a great job playing the Frankenstein character. Really enjoyed his performance. You bought that he was maniacal and crazy, and you also bought that he kind of regretted all that stuff. They tried to turn his life around and stuff like that. So I thought he did a great job with his performance. You also have Mae Clark as the love interest. I think she does a great job. You also have John Bowles, Edward Van Sloan, who's been in a slew of these Universal Monster movies. Of course, he does amazing as always in this film. Frederick Kerr, Dwight Fry, wonderful cast here. So yeah, not only do you have Boris Karloff doing great, but you also have a great supporting cast. I think all the characters did their jobs very, very well. They're all written very well. The adaptation of Frankenstein, I believe, is pretty close. I read Frankenstein, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I read that years ago, man. I read that for like an English project in high school because it was supposed to be about old literature, studying old literature. And of course, I had Dracula or Frankenstein because I was obsessed with reading horror books. So I read Frankenstein. I don't remember a whole lot from it because it was a lot of fancy words. It was really hard to read because it was really advanced, and I'm kind of stupid when I read books, but I do get the gist of the story, and for the most part this movie does do a pretty good job of retelling that story. And I think the story is classic. I mean, we would all go on to remember the mad scientist and the lightning, the castle, the raising the body up to the roof, electricity hitting it, coming back down. It's alive! It's alive! That has gone etched down in horror movie history. We all know about that. And there's a reason we all know about that. It's because of how much passion and hard work and dedication went into this movie. And really just delivering a classic horror film that I think is one of the best ones out there. I also want to point out that I really love the look of Frankenstein in this movie. Like, I like to say that's probably my favorite design for Frankenstein. I love the makeup in Bride of Frankenstein as well, but here I just love that makeup. It's so cool looking, so iconic. And of course, Boris Karloff does amazing. I mean, his physical acting is on point. His pretty much, this was a time where it kind of reminded me of, like, you have to not use words but still be able to convey a character. And I think Boris Karloff really handled that well. I mean, it's happened before in horror movies as well, where people, they have so much makeup on they can't talk, or they have a mask on, but you still got to be able to emote that character. I think that's done well most of the time, but I think here Boris Karloff just really pulled it off, and you can totally feel sympathy for this character. You feel sorry for it because it really doesn't know what it's doing. It's kind of just this focused on basic needs and basic instincts, and you feel bad for the character. You really do feel sympathy for it. And I love certain scenes. There's a scene where Frankenstein, the monster, finds this little girl and you think he's going to kill her. But he ends up sitting down and he's like friendly with her. And then when he throws a flower onto the water, he sees the flower floats. So he picks the girl up and just throws her in there. It's a very shocking moment. And it was something that I was very surprised in this movie. So he throws the girl in the lake thinking that she would float to the top of the water. She doesn't. And he ends up accidentally killing this little girl. And later on, the town knows about it, the father knows about it, and they go and hunt down Frankenstein's monster, to where you had that classic ending where they're at the windmill and it gets caught on fire. Thought it looked great. Henry Frankenstein is there. The monster kind of throws him out of the windmill. Kind of looks like he throws him out and the body lands on like one of the things in the windmill and then falls down. So you think the character is dead, but ends up not being dead. He comes back in the sequel. But the windmill burns down. That's pretty much the end of the movie. I just thought the movie had a great pacing to it. It's very fast paced. Has an awesome gothic dark atmosphere that I thought was beautiful. The sets, the practicality of the movie, I love. The story, the basicness of it. I thought it was simplistic but very, very well done. The acting by Boris Karloff, Colin Clive, Mae Clark, John Bowles, of course, Edward Vanslow and Dwight Fry, two classic actors from this era, as well as Boris Karloff. I can definitely see why people call this a masterpiece. This is without a doubt a masterpiece. I'm going to have to give it either an 8.5 or a 9. It's just really well done. I love Frankenstein, and if you haven't seen Frankenstein, see it, man. It's definitely worth the time. It's a classic masterpiece film, and I love this movie a lot. One of my favorites. But anyways, guys, my review on Frankenstein. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys later for my review of Bride of Frankenstein. I know this review wasn't too long, but I mean, what else can I say about Frankenstein? I mean, historically, it's a movie that really had an impact. I know that after Dracula was made, they pretty much made this movie to kind of, follow up the success of Dracula, and I think it really did happen. It was the biggest thing from this era. This is a lot of people's favorite movie from this era. This or Bride of Frankenstein, but yeah, historically it's amazing. The movie is lit very well, shot very well. The writing, the characters, the acting, the performances, the practicality of the sets. I love the one scene where Edward Van Sloan says, "You're crazy," and the doctor kind of looks at him. Frankenstein looks at him and goes, "You think I'm mad? We'll see who's mad." And I just love that scene. It's a great scene. So yeah, I love key scenes. The scene where the monster comes to life, the ending of the movie, all classic stuff. Overall, I think Frankenstein is an amazing movie, and if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. But anyways, guys, my review on Frankenstein. Thank you so much. Thanks again to John for sending me this movie. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed the review. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good day. The Explorer of Horror is out. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this movie. I'm giving it a 8.5 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. Either or it deserves. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next review. The Explorer of Horror is out. See you guys.